getting started right now as attendees are filing in right here on Zoom and on YouTube Live. You can watch this on either of those places. We're thankful to be with you. Thanks for making us a part of your leadership journey. And today, oh my gosh, like you don't even understand what you have in store for you today. I mean, we're going to have a live and fun and real and present conversation, and you get to watch and be a part of it. And by the way, if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have any of those things, throw those into the chat. I can't see it on YouTube Live, so you have to be on the Zoom session for me to be able to see those, but throw those in. We want to make you a part of this. This is a potluck, and it's going to be some beautiful thing based on what all of us are bringing to the show. But Ali Sweeney is an expert at helping people connect their energy to the current scenario. I mean, imagine all of the stuff that you're going through. Imagine that maybe you feel pressure, you feel darkness, or you feel difficulty, you feel all of these things. But imagine that if within reach, you had the ability to grab something, bring it into what it is that you were doing, and actually create from that. So what if instead of the obstacles that you were facing, what if opportunities were abounding in that space? Well, they are. And we're with the person that can help you to absolutely find those, maximize those, and turn your life and business into the one that you love, not for the one you have to struggle for all your life. Ali Sweeney, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, Donnie. I'm so excited to be here. It's really fun to be a part of this show and with this audience and the people who are coming in today. And that is what we're going to talk about, is sort of the inner presence that's you that gets to be the leader and how that changes everything.
This is going to be so good. I've been looking forward to this ever since Todd tapped my shoulder and said, "Hey, will you step in for me?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, please. Let's do this thing." I'm curious, before we get into this, Ali, a lot of people are going to ask you, we're at the party, we're at the Fuel party, we're at the Leadership Live party. They're going to say, what do you do? What do you do? I'm going to ask you, Ali, what do you love? What's lighting your fire right now?
Wow. Well, I love connecting people with presence. I love showing people that this really is their superpower, and that even though we're taught to avoid it and we're taught to, that being uncomfortable is there's something wrong with us, that really there is such a beauty when you pause and connect. And so I go by many titles, right? I could be a mindfulness coach. I could be a meditation guide. I'm also an intuitive healer. And I work with energy and people to help them create a life they love. And it's amazing what happens, right? We were just talking before the show, as we grow into the people that we are, it's like we're born with a garden plot, okay? And it's empty, but it's all this fertile soil. And all these beliefs and programs get planted into that garden for us. And a lot of times we don't take the time to kind of look through and say, well, like what beliefs are here? What am I operating off of? What's happening here that I didn't even know was here? So we don't even take the time to kind of know that, because it's how we've always operated. It's how we've always been. And that's what I do, is help you kind of start to look through that garden and go, well, hold on a second. I didn't realize that codependency was planted here. Let me pull that out, right? We often don't choose these until we're much later in life. And that's what I'm all about, is helping people figure out how they create their lives, how they choose their lives intentionally.
Wow. 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 Love it. Well, we're going to get into this. And for those of you who are leaders, which is like most of the people here, and we all are, right? We all are leading someone, even if it's just ourselves. But I mean, like, have you ever faced decision fatigue? Have you ever been just denigrated and destroyed, pressed down by just pressure? Have you ever felt like the whole world is leaning in on you and you have nothing to offer? Have you you just want to get away. You maybe you've had a hard time setting the tone for the room or for your team, and sometimes maybe even having a hard time lighting your own torch before you light others. We're gonna solve that here. We're gonna give you practical takeaways that you can actually go out there and exercise and put into play for your life right here today. It's gonna be live. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be great. And Ali, one of the things that I already like about you is that you're willing to be a little bit crazy, a little bit off base, a little bit different. Why do you think that that's valuable?
Well, I don't, I think it's valuable because of the way our world so often operates unconsciously, right? And so we're doing so many things. We're so busy. We're not really there in our lives. And so I think someone coming in and saying, hey, that's actually not normal. What you're calling normal isn't necessarily the best life you have to live. And so that's how I get into this, is being a little weird because it is so out of the norm that we are present in our lives. And my goal, right, is to make presence normal.
That's awesome. I mean, like, think about it. Everyone's all afraid of like AI is going to take over the world, and it probably will. But have you ever thought about the AI that existed before, which is like all of this intelligence that came from outside of you that you maybe didn't even get to vote on, but it's still running your life. It's just programs, just overriding even your desires in the back. It's like even removing permission to create the life that you want. When
Yeah.
you say presence, there's like that's a big word for you. Can you describe what you mean by that?
Yeah, I think it's about being connected with yourself and knowing your values, knowing what you want in this world, knowing as a leader how you want to lead, right? What is it, the energy that you want to lead with? All of these are, it's about being conscious of what is happening in your body, right? Are you nervous? Are you agitated? Are you upset? Bringing all, so it's an awareness of what's happening emotionally. It's an awareness of what's happening in your mind. And the beautiful part then is, and I think you would connect with this, Donnie, is in what's happening in your heart,
Hmm.
right? Because when you get to the heart, that's where the real stuff lives. And so sometimes in all the busyness and all of the things we have to do, we lose that connection with the heart.
Hmm.
And that is, it's a really hard way to live because you're living then out of your nervous system. It's really difficult on your body. And you can't access the energies like love and joy and peace in the same way that if you were present in your heart.
So, like as you're saying that, I mean, it makes me imagine a person, same person in, well, maybe two different people in the same scenario, but everything is different except for one person is connected with love and joy and peace. They're not trying to fabricate any of these things. They're not trying to pretend so that they have to um, connect with, or like they're just connected. And then this other
Mhm.
person is not.
Yeah.
10 times out of 10, the person who's functioning in love and joy and peace is going to, if there's an opportunity, they're going to find it. But not just opportunity, their
You're
experience of
creating
whatever
it.
it is they're creating it. So
Yeah.
what, like, why do
So
you,
oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you.
Well, I was just going to say, we talked about some practical tools, right? So one of the practical tools is to get in your body. And one of the really easy ways to do that is put your hand on your heart, right? And just find 3 deep breaths. 3 deep breaths can change just about everything in your realm. And so if you just, that's one simple thing that you can do throughout your day to bring your presence back into your body. I know we often talk about, um, like death is when we leave our body, but really in busyness, And when we're caught in the spin of mental chatter, we're really not here with ourselves. And that's what we're talking about in presence, is being fully embodied in your experience. So other ways to do that, like if you wanted to expand on that zone from taking the breaths, would be to name what's happening, right? I'm feeling really afraid, or I'm feeling whatever, I'm feeling joy. I mean, even naming the really positive stuff that happens in your life makes it more real.
Mm.
So, but what's beautiful about naming the hard stuff is that it starts to soften, right? It stays and gets stuck, and you have to hide it in all these places in your body so you don't have to feel it, which creates all kinds of other things. But if you just acknowledge it, like, I'm actually feeling fear, I don't know how to lead this team forward, then it starts to soften. And what comes from there is a different sort of clarity.
Mm. Ali, I want to know, like, from your perspective. First off, I love the whole thing of like the mental chatter. You said it actually reminds me of my desk on a Friday after I've done all my work and I have all this clutter. And clutter confuses, but clarity creates confidence. And I'm just like, sometimes we have all of these stray bullets like flying through our mind, but just
Right.
like the catching. For you, what do you think puts us in that? And specifically, people maybe who are taking a little bit more responsibility than others. That's leaders, right? What
Hmm.
um, what have you seen in terms of the mental chatter or the or clutter or like these things? What are the what are these weighty, grindy things that you feel like that we've been guilty of? And and definitely like first off, what are you seeing? And next off, what are the most useful ways? I love the touching of the heart and three breaths. What are the
Hmm.
ways that you found for people to like make quick turns from that chatter?
Yeah. So, I mean, our world today is really focused on logic, right? If you think about all of the emphasis that's put on your logic and your brain power, whether you're in schools or in business, right? We focus on the logical thinker. And that's great because it helps you make decisions, unless there's something in the world that's changing. And our world is
More.
always changing. So there can be an alarm that starts in your system that says, there's change, which was a great evolutionary evolvement, right? But what happens is your brain can spin from there and either try to find solutions or worry or get stuck in fear. So everybody has their own flavor of mind spin. My course is on fuel. Actually, the first one's called Tame the Spin,
Hmm.
because it is solely about how you get notice the spin is first, right? You got to say, oh gosh, this is actually what's happening. I've been thinking about writing the same email for 35 minutes now. Or whatever it is, right? I've been planning through this meeting, I've been rehearsing. Those are all ways that we get stuck. A huge one for me used to be replaying things that had happened. So I would replay a meeting, or I would replay a conflict situation. And that actually gets your nervous system just as jacked as if you were still thinking or just in the experience itself. So first thing is to just notice that you're in the spin. And then from there, it's about focus. So you choose your focus. Your brain doesn't run the thoughts. So you get to decide, hey, I don't want to be in this spin anymore, and give your brain something to focus on.
So I'm sorry to pause you here. You
You're
said your
fine.
brain is not in charge of the focus. You get to choose. But a lot of us would say, but wait, am I not my brain?
You're more than your brain.
Tell
And
me more. Yeah.
that's what mindfulness shows you, right? You get to be the participant and the witness. So when you sit down and you meditate, which is what there's several courses in Fuel that offer meditations. So it's my courses, John Murphy's, Helene Mead's, Danielle Ribeiro, Alex Sebeg. We all have meditations as part of their courses because Fuel's been really awesome in noticing that mindfulness and where you put your focus has everything to do with mindset. But anyway, when you choose to meditate, when you choose to be mindful, you get to have the experience, but then you also notice, hey, I was just thinking a thought. So if you're the person who's noticing you're thinking your thought, you're not just your brain. Does that make sense?
It does. I
Okay.
mean, the, for me, like there was something, I don't know when I had the epiphany, even is without like this stuff. I'm like, my brain is not me because it's a part of me. It's definitely involuntary, or else like, how would I dream? Like, I didn't tell myself to dream this. My brain just wants to do its thing. And so that also means that whether it's whatever it is that I color events with, and I choose like
Mm-hmm.
this flavor for the experience, I'm the one that's actually like I'm in control of that. But if I
Yeah.
don't know that, my brain has been in control of that, and I think that's me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very powerful. I love that. That's a great example. Mm-hmm.
So notice it, change your focus.
Mm-hmm. So you can't be in the spin and noticing the spin at the same time. It stops the spin.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm there are changes that are happening all around. And Ali, I have people that approach me on the regular just because of, like real estate, mortgage, like people's worlds have shifted. And
Mm-hmm.
some people are adapting and adopting and forging, new ways to do things. And other people are saying, I don't know if there's anything here for me. But it's when I look at those moments of transition, whether it's a transition to shift up or a transition to shift out, and neither one is wrong. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with leaving something for something else if you feel called to it. But there's immense stress and pressure that I've seen. Uh, One person running a company, there's a lot of um, efficiency down,
Mm-hmm.
like they're downsizing and they're becoming more efficient with their personnel, and it feels like an identity shift every time he delivers these messages. He feels like he's having an out of body experience, meaning like, and I would say maybe an empty suit experience where he
Mm-hmm. Right.
doesn't want to be there. But I'm sharing that because that might reflect some of what a lot of people are going through. And I know you talk to people in these situations, but can you talk to someone who's in one of these places of transition and help them to connect and not wait for life to get better before they start experiencing life, but to find life, opportunity, love, joy, peace, these wonderful things. How do you find that in these places of transition?
Yeah, it's to recognize that life isn't always comfortable, right? When we're in these really hard spots, it's not about avoiding them. It's about going through them. So if you happen to be a leader who has to present, you know, downsizing, right? Or whatever the change is that's facing this company, I would offer that you being in that space with your employees is a really powerful move.
Hmm.
That, it comes back to what's the energy you want to lead with. If you are avoiding feeling the pain of that, that is what you are encouraging your employees to do as well, is just everything is going to be fine. And it might be that everything is going to be fine, but when you're faced in that moment, you get to sit with the part that doesn't feel okay with these changes. And that's what I think. I mean, being a leader today is so much more challenging in this century than it was a century ago because we're asking so much more of them. We're asking them to bring not only these incredible logical minds, but also their hearts. And that's what we're asking of our employees too. And that's what's, I think, is really shifting in the workplace is that we are becoming a group of companies, a nation that can put people first in these companies. And I know for me, that's the leaders that I've most connected with and that I want to work the hardest for
Hmm.
is the people that I know are real, that are authentic and that care about me.
So to take this, even even would you say that someone could be real and authentic and caring and connected and deliver the bad news in such a way they're not avoiding the pain? Like how would you say that person can show up?
I think just the way you're describing is that in not avoiding the pain of that, they actually move the pain out for the entire system much quicker.
Being real about it.
Be just being real about it. It's not what we're taught to do, right? We are taught to avoid what's uncomfortable.
Well, we spin it. Like like
Oh
good
God.
news, everyone. We're taking half our company to Indonesia, and like there's this is good because of this, and this is good, and like, and we can speaking of spinning, right? We can spin things a certain way, but it's like it's very evident. First off, it's not true. Next off, it's not authentic, and it's not true. Like, so wouldn't it be better to do what you're saying, like just to feel it of like this is where we're at, and just embrace that.
Yeah, because then from that place of acceptance where you are, you can have the clarity to figure out what's next, right? So that then, and you've got your whole team on board with you then. How do we make our way through this? And when people know that you care about them, um, and it's interesting because like even if it meant downsizing and you're going to lose those employees, that's another level of grief for everyone. But what is essential in these moments is staying in the moment where you are, right? You only have control over what's happening in this moment. So as you accept, come to that place of that moment, then you can drive the future, you can create the future from there. But if you don't hold or recognize what's already there, you're not going to have you're not just not going to have the same energy that can drive the change that maybe you want to see.
Hmm. And it's okay to care, show care, and it doesn't mean that we got what we wanted or this person gets what they want. Like sometimes care is just being honest and raw and truthful. And we can lead from that.
Yeah, well, and love isn't always kind, right? Sometimes it's about setting a boundary, right? Sometimes that's the most important loving act you can do. And I know we don't talk about love in business often, right? But there are times that
Good.
like we could,
Yeah.
yeah, but accountability is also a way we show care. Care isn't just acquiescing to people's needs, right? Care is I'm holding you accountable. I believe in you, and I know that you can work harder than what you're doing. I need you to show up for this company.
So good. There's something that you and I are both a common enemy to. And I it's probably somewhere, I don't know if it's still in my LinkedIn stuff, but anytime anyone introduces me, I always make sure that they tell everyone I'm a sworn enemy of the grind. And I might recant like I do believe in hustle, but it's like
Mhm.
hustle till you get the muscle. But there is something I believe that a lot of leaders brought into where they're at, and it was this frenetic energy, and they're continuing as though that were the answer. But you say it's different. Can you enlighten us on just like what do we what do we shift to? How do we do that? Bring us
Yeah,
into that. Yeah.
I think what's challenging about the hustle, because there is a period of time, but let's let it be a period of time. Let's not let it be all that there is, right? So if you're creating a new company, yeah, you're going to be in it and you're probably going to hustle. But the problem comes in is that it's really difficult on our nervous system to constantly be in fight or flight and constantly be in that state of just at the tip of overwhelm.
Mm.
Right? Just when you're just holding it all together is really, really difficult on our bodies and on our relationships,
We
right?
think
Because
we
how
can do
many
that
people,
forever. Yeah.
yeah, you just can't. And it's not again, it's not where that love of life lives. You can be passionate, absolutely, about where you're headed. But I would offer that if you're too stuck in the hustle, you actually might be missing some of the clarity and the knowing that would come to you in the silence. So if you were able to take the pause, if you were able to take the break, and this doesn't have to be, a week-long vacation. You can incorporate this into your daily life. Believe it or not, you could do it every day. And it is fascinating what happens in those moments of calm. There's a different there's different information that can come through, and you can reconnect with your purpose and then reconnect with the energy that does drive. But if you're always in drive and you don't stop to reconnect, you're gonna burn out.
So it's interesting. There was, I want to stay here because I think this is something that doesn't register with a lot of us. And
Yeah.
I think about Ali. There was a time I was looking for the picture. I couldn't find it. I told you, like, oh, you made me think
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
in our pre conversation. You made me think of a picture, but there was a time I just left school teaching. I had been in sales for 6 years at that time, and I got into the mindset. My brain was doing the driving, and I think a lot of us do when we become entrepreneurs, leaders, producers, whatever. We get into the thing of like, this is the routine of how I produce. I solve problems. I solve problems. I solve problems. Well, there's a picture of me internally, and I remember that's what was going on. Where's my next deal coming from? What's going to happen with that account? I don't know about this. Like, that's where my brain was.
Hmm.
The picture looks like I was a perfect dad. I'm holding my baby girl, our youngest girl, Anna. She was balancing on my hand. Of course, maybe that looks abusive to some, but she was standing. She was a little,
I'm sure it was fine.
she was fine. She was 1 year old baby, standing on my hand, and I'm looking at her and having this beautiful moment. But I wasn't having this beautiful moment.
Mm,
Brain was in the spin cycle.
wow.
It was
Yeah.
it was in this other place, but rest. There's something like, can you interrupt that guy? Can you go talk to him for me for just a little bit?
Yeah.
Because there's some of those people are listening.
So
What,
in that moment, what would you have said your definition of success was?
well, my brain
Hmm.
was saying that my definition of success is to create more sales and have more, basically it was the never ending hamster wheel of more. There was no real definition, actually, if I'm being honest. Just
Hmm.
more. I need more. I need to make
Hmm.
more.
Right. So you were operating very well out of more. You were being incredibly successful at that. And so this is where in those pauses, you can define who you are and what you're after in this life. And for me, it's not about more. For me, it's about love and peace and joy, right? Those are the things that I get to talk about, and those are the things that I'm looking for in my life. And then from there, how you serve and what it is you want to do with who you are and what you are in this life. It sounds like you're also a dad who doesn't want to miss those moments.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like if yeah, so when you arrest that person with the like, sounds like this is who you are, and but then there's something immediately says that, but that's not who I want to be.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's what living aligned is. So you decide who it is that you want to be. And the moment you decide that is how you get to create your life from there. But if it's unconscious, right? If you didn't even realize you're driving from more, 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 how
hmm
are you ever going to change it? You're
hmm
just going to keep going in more, more, more. But that's why it's so valuable to take these moments to stop and say, what is really valuable to me?
All right, so you arrested me, and then
Yeah.
now I'm like, no, I want to be, joyful. That's what I want, right? Or I want to be like, this is, let's just say, joyful. I've actually had some people say this is the core value I desire joyful. How would you like what next?
Well, you get to decide what it is that makes you joyful.
Okay. Travel with my family. It is staying in exotic places, eating fun things. It's experience with my kids and working with people that I love to work with.
hmm And it sounds to me like you already live that life, Donnie,
Yes.
right?
Now, yes, yes, yes.
And
I'm talking to this guy, but I didn't. No.
right, the Donnie from years ago didn't,
Right.
right? But you do. And so that's what the beautiful thing about just deciding that this is what you want, you then nothing else distracts you.
So
But you have to come back to it. You have to be intentional about it because it is not what our world encourages us to do. Our
so
world doesn't say, hey, listen to your heart. What's in there? It says your brain is the only thing that matters. Get working harder.
oh my
And
God. Yes.
AI is this beautiful opportunity to shift that because AI can do everything faster, leaving us with time to figure out how we really want to live this life.
There's some so Ali, I love where you're taking us. I keep this on my desk. You can't see it because my camera won't let you see it. Like
Oh, I see it now.
I always have a
Compass?
compass, right?
Uh-huh.
And I feel like the desire is that true north. A lot of us have a lot of us have bought into the idea that it's like you can have what you want later. You have your dessert after you eat your meal. You after you've done this, you earn these things, and what happens is a lot of us have forgotten how to desire. It's almost like as though it's like a locked up portion of us. How do you unlock that in leaders, or how can a leader access this true north? Because like when you're saying this, I'm like, you don't need instructions now. You just follow north, and you'll like you get there. So how do
It
we?
is. So there's a couple different ways to do this, right? You can certainly do it on your own with some of the practices that we're talking about. Create a mindfulness practice, connect with yourself. There are mirror exercises that people use that you repeat your values into the mirror every morning. And that's super valuable because you're with yourself saying that. You're not thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about what's going to happen. You're just with yourself and that this is what really matters to me.
Mhm.
I would also offer, because this is what I do, is help people find these things. Because you're not often neutral to we talked about at the beginning, like your garden gets planted and you're not always conscious of what's in there. So when you're talking about the person who, what was the example you just gave? You said, oh, you have to have the dessert later, right? That's one of the beliefs that got planted. Somebody taught you that. And what I do in my work is name those things. So, and as soon as you become aware of them, then they're not unconscious anymore. And you can start to make different decisions and start to create your life from an aligned place, from a place of value.
Love that awareness. It's almost like when I was a kid, I was afraid of the dark, and you turn on the lights, and at least when you see what is, you can see what you were afraid of, if it was real or not.
Mhm.
But it's almost like once you spot this, it's like turning the lights on the boogeyman, and it at the very least it loses its immediate access to your power. Um,
Yeah, right.
yeah,
So then from there, you have to work through your habits. So we've become very habitual. Like for me in my life, I was a habitual worrier, right? I couldn't get out of the habit of worrying until I saw it. And then you have to change the habit. So then you get to interrupt that pattern of worrying. For me, it was like I was always imagining the worst case scenarios. So I would make myself imagine the best case scenario. And so that was how I would get out of that. But that's the thing is then First comes the awareness, but then we're habitualized in some of these things. So you have to be really intentional at first about changing the habit. It's just like exercise, right? If you go to the gym and you do a session or whatever whatever people do at the gym, then right, you're not like a highly skilled athlete after one session, right? You need to put in the time to build the muscles, is how you were saying before, just to change those habits.
Okay, you were in a place like, so I like the habit thing, change the habits. I'm totally with you, but I think there's value in this worry thing.
Okay.
You went through it. Like, can you dig through and literally lay out? Let's just imagine that everyone here is we're struggling with worry,
Okay.
and obviously you're a different human than we are, but you can tell us how you remove that from the driver's seat of your life.
Hmm.
Can you share that
Yeah.
story? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's more to the story. I am trained in a type of mindfulness called tame, soothe, dwell. What that stands for is tame the mind, soothe the gut, dwell in the heart. And worry actually comes from an instinctual alarm that happens when our we perceive a threat to our lives, to our emotional state, like feeling something we don't want to feel, or to our ego, like if our integrity is about to be questioned. So understanding that that alarm used to be really valuable in saber-toothed tiger days, right? Kept us alive, was wonderful. That alarm now is often triggered kind of constantly by our world. So if you think of the media, if you think of the drama that can happen in teams and in businesses, right? There's often this alarm that happens that doesn't actually need to be alarming anymore. So the first step is to just soothe the alarm, to recognize that, oh gosh, this is just an instinctual alarm that's happening. I'm actually safe. And the way to tell whether it's a real alarm or a false alarm is if you're actually going to do something about it. So if you're not going to act on whatever you're worried about, you can set the worry down. So I'm trying to think of an example. Um,
Yeah, where were you? But you're like, like you're living in your mind. What was going on there?
well, so for me, I was always worried about loss, like that something would happen to my family. So, and I wasn't going to like make us all hermits and not let them go anywhere or live their lives or not live my life. So I wasn't going to do anything about it. I
Mm,
was just worrying that someday I might lose them.
mm,
So that isn't a worry that's helpful.
mhm.
That isn't a worry that does anything except suck your energy and keep your fight or flight system high.
So then you tame it, or you tame. Well, you like what'd you
You,
do next?
yeah,
Like,
so same skills, right? You're catching it. You're going like, "Oh my gosh, that's a worry that I don't actually need to be worrying."
mm,
And then soothing the alarm is really about reminding yourself that you're safe. And so you can do that in lots of different ways. Gratitude is a stability in disguise, right? Just reminding yourself of all the things that are wonderful and all the things that aren't changing in your lives, all the things that aren't threats. Um, and then it's really about presence. So you just sit with that belly, so hand on your heart, but also hand on your belly. So
sounds
one
like
of
it
the
takes a lot
mantras,
of time presence. Does that take a lot of time, or what would you reckon? Like, what?
no, 15 seconds,
Wow.
couple, three breaths. I'm telling you, magic numbers.
So can you take that with us for a second now, as though we're in this worry place?
Yeah. So close your eyes, right? When you close your eyes, your attention turns inward and just feel into your belly, feel into your gut. And often the physical sensations that you feel here will be your signal that worry is happening. So imagine you were in a state of worry. I know you're not. right? But if you were, your stomach would be tense. It might be hard to catch a deep breath. That's what always happens to me is I can't get a deep breath into my belly.
Mm.
So you're looking for those physical signs. That will be your tip off that you're worried.
Hmm.
And then you're just noticing it and you're saying, okay, do I have cause for concern? Is this going to matter in 5 minutes? Is this going to matter in 5 hours? Is this going to matter in 5 days or 5 years?
Mm.
And with your attention there, my belly softens and see what happens to yours. And if your belly, if your stomach is already calm, that's wonderful, right? Because what the beautiful thing that happens with this is that you can build your resilience for change
Mm.
just by being able to soothe the alarm. So your belly then welcomes opportunity, welcomes all the possibilities, right? But without that resilience, you can be scared of even good changes that would happen, right? Sometimes people are really afraid of living the life of their dreams.
What if in that moment you just went through, what if it's like you realize, oh, there's something I've been avoiding. So I know that there's some people who close their eyes and what they
Yeah.
felt wasn't something that was just taking up background space. It's like they know that it should probably be in the foreground, but they've been pushing it to the background and they've been avoiding it. They've been procrastinating it.
I would say this is the number one reason people are not mindful or think they cannot meditate is because when we've had pain in our lives, and everybody has, sometimes it gets stored in the heart. And so when you start to be quiet, when you start to be calm for these first moments, what you might feel first is that pain. And as I said before, right, we want to avoid pain. Right? So your gut is going to send an alarm and say, "Get out of here." Right? But you got to say, "Oh, wait a second. If I just stay here for 15 seconds for 3 breaths, if I just acknowledge what's here, it's going to start to soften."
Hmm.
And so that's what you have to get over that first little hump, the part that says, "Get up." For me, I used to be able to last like a minute. And then I couldn't sit in it anymore.
Hmm.
And I would jump out of the experience. But that was before I knew that if I just stayed for just a little bit longer, it was going to get so much better. And so we hold things when we avoid things. When we acknowledge them, they get to move through us. So the energy is no longer stuck in the heart.
Interesting.
And the reason that's important is because the other things live in the heart: love, joy, peace. That's where they all are stationed.
What
And
you
we're not taught any of this, right? We're taught that if you just ignore it, it will go away. But it doesn't.
I've heard it said, what you resist persists.
Yeah, exactly. Of course.
I love this. When you acknowledge something, it allows it to move through you. Some of us are like I remember when my father passed away, and it was like I wanted to be completely present to the pain, to the grief. I like all of it. All of it was important. I didn't want to hide it. I didn't want to not experience it. I didn't want to deny it because there's power in those things too. And there's power in moments,
Absolutely.
even if they feel negative. But I watched my one of my brothers who coped rather than right, and I think it hurt him. He was a little closer to my dad, hurt him even more. But there's a difference between coping and healing, and there's a difference between like when we can look at whatever is in front of us. Maybe we're afraid that we feel like we're not enough for whatever that is, but we still like but when we won't look at it, it has power over us,
Yep.
whatever it is. And then when you look at it, maybe you've got to do something about it, maybe you don't. But there's like if you like a lot of us, we don't even realize, Ali, that we can't look at our problems or look at our taxes, or we can't look at our team, or we can't look at our family, or what we have to move. Like there's different things that people are having to do, but no, like just acknowledging it, like that. What a huge step, right?
It is. So that's the other thing is to really bring grace and compassion with yourself as you start doing this is because this isn't what you've been taught. It's not what you're practiced in. And it's understandable and normal to be fearful, to be, to not want to face these things. Of course. It's just that it's worth it.
It is worth it. Can There are some other things that you've mentioned that are just like real practical ways for people to just create a sense of like we'll call it like magnetism instead of hustle. Like instead of chasing things, like that we're connected to things and becoming aware of opportunity that's around us. It's not just, I say opportunity a lot, but it's not just that. It's being connected to the moment. You have a few exercises that you already given us a couple that are really
Mm-hmm.
good, like these breathing. Anything
Mm-hmm.
else that you feel like is uh, particularly powerful with helping people to get back into alignment and to become connected again with what they're doing?
Yeah, I think it's hitting on a little bit more of that compassion for
Mm.
yourself or that grace for yourself is that a lot of us have a much more negative tone with ourselves. And so bringing in a practice of compassion is really powerful in these moments. So that's it's funny. ChatGPT is really good at coming up with compassionate statements.
Is it,
So,
are those things I have to say to myself whenever,
mhm,
okay, yeah,
yes.
talk to me, yeah.
So, right, you would say it's understandable that I feel like whatever I'm feeling because this happened to me, right? So it just helps you go, there isn't something wrong with me. That's our natural go-to is that if I feel uncomfortable, there's something wrong with me. And you actually just feel uncomfortable. So the more compassion that you can bring to like that this isn't something that's bad that's happening to you. It's just what's here. It, the easier that journey will be through. Um, there are so there's a I'm wondering, could we do a quick meditation, Donnie?
Please, yeah, this is what we're asking for. Like, you're
Because then I think
do it,
I'll run like maybe let's just try 5 minutes here.
please, yeah, let's go for it.
And please do put any questions in the chat. But again, close your eyes. I know we kind of did this, but we're going to approach this from a slightly different way than what we've been talking about. So find your breath. And now we're going to imagine that maybe there's some energy that's stirred up in you, right? Maybe there's some things just in our conversation today that are kind of floating around in your system. So you might see if you could name them, right? Like an emotion or one of those physical sensations that I was talking about, like maybe you're noticing something that's tight in your body. Just bring your awareness to what feels kind of mixed up in you right now. And then I want you to imagine, I want you to follow along from your vertebrae, like the top of your neck to the top of your back, to the middle of your back, to the base of your spine, right at your tailbone. And I want you to imagine that you could create a colored beam of light and connect it right to your tailbone. So if you had a tail, like right where a tail would be. And you're going to grow and extend this colored beam of light through whatever you're sitting on, through the floor, through whatever's under that. And it's going to go into the earth. It's going to keep traveling, keep extending to the very center of the earth and connect there. So you have this connection from the base of your spine to the center of the earth. And it's an invitation to release anything that's mixed up in your body, right? Anything that isn't serving you in this moment, can go right down that colored beam of light. Just notice, let yourself imagine what it feels like as maybe some of that angst or worry or stress that's just been sort of recirculating in your system has a place to release. And then I want you to imagine that you're sitting inside a bubble that's an arm's distance in every direction. You could give that bubble a color. Anything you like is great. And this bubble is like an energetic boundary. So everything inside the bubble is yours, and everything outside the bubble is something else. We tend to pick up energy from all the people and places and things in our lives. So this is an opportunity for you to just be with you, in your life, in your energy. And then it's also a reminder that all you can control in this life is inside this bubble. Your actions, your reactions, what you choose to create all happens from right here inside you. And now I want you to think about an energy that you'd like to have more of in your life. So it could be love, peace, or joy, as we've talked about. It could be freedom. It could be confidence or clarity. Pick one. Anything that comes to you is the right one. And then I want you to imagine that there's a great big golden sun above your head. It's filled with your light, with your energy, and you're going to write that word for what you want more of on that sun. That energy is going to absorb and become that vibration. Now you just get to imagine letting it fill you. So you form a hole in the bottom of that sun and let that golden light pour into the top of your head. Notice what it feels like as it fills your throat and into your shoulders. Maybe they start to release and relax. Into your arms. Notice what it feels like as it hits your fingertips. Maybe they start to feel alive. And down into your chest, filling your nervous system and your circulatory system, your digestive system, all the systems in the body, all the organs in your torso, into your hips, your knees, down to your ankles and your toes. And there's so much energy, it's going to spill out the bottom of your feet and surround you, filling that entire bubble. And just take a moment to notice what it feels like with your energy running, choosing a vibration. Maybe make an intention to come back to stillness in your life, to pause the grind and remember you. Reminding yourself that you matter. And then open your eyes.
Whew. Hello.
So it changes things.
Amazing. How long was that?
5 minutes,
For
right?
those,
So do you all have 5 minutes? Change your energy?
amazing. Amazing. I mean, it is, yeah. I mean, I feel great. I feel calm. I feel, um, yeah.
I do too. And it all depends on kind of what you're feeling, but it can be very powerful to feel like you are the one who's in charge of what it feels like to be you. By noticing these things, by changing these things, by actively choosing your focus, you create your life.
Hmm.
So I do want to encourage people to maybe try to take one of the tips that we've talked about or check out one of the lessons on fuel. Certainly, my company name is called A Light Insight. And so that's how you can find me. My email is info@alightinsight.com. My website is alightinsight.com. So if this brings up anything for you, by all means, reach out and connect with me because this is absolutely what I love to do in this life.
Ali Sweeney, you are an alterer of internal environments, and you leave things different than when you came. So thank you for doing that. Thanks for leading me and others through that. And I can't wait to replay this one on YouTube. It's going to be good. Thanks for telling us where we can find you. And my encouragement to you guys is this: listen, if something was uh, just brought to the surface, maybe a key phrase was said that you're like, I haven't thought about that for a long time, or that right there registered with me. Find a way to go back into that and explore, see what's there for you. Invite Ali into your journey, and we're thankful that you have decided that we were important enough that you would spend time with us because we're happy to invest it back into you. Ali, I can't wait to connect with you later on down the road. And I hope that a lot of these others here who are listening now and in the future will do the same. Thank you so much for enlightening and bringing the change.
Yeah, no, Donnie, I'm super grateful for you to be able to have this conversation with me. It means everything. So I really appreciate your time and your effort in being here today. Thank you.
Bye for now.